Coming up on this week's episode of Flash Talk presented by KSU Ticks, head men's basketball coach Rob Senderoff joins the show to talk about the upcoming season and all the new faces you may see in this upcoming campaign. Plus, Kent State women's basketball head coach Todd Starkey jumps on the show to talk about their MAC championship last season and what they need to do to repeat in 24-25. And Rockey Sasitharan, assistant soccer coach, talks about the Flash's recent action and their upcoming home matchup against Western Michigan. And finally, head of athletic communications and former Flash Talk host Dan Griffin jumps on for one final time to reminisce about his memories at Kent State. That's all coming up and more in a flash. Welcome into our Flash Talk studios. Dane Richardson here with Kent State men's basketball head coach Rob Senderoff. Coach Sendy, thanks so much for joining me. And I want to ask first, second week of practice, but first I'll ask about the offseason. How did that go for your team?
Busy offseason, trying to assemble a roster. The season ends last year. You usually try to unwind a little bit, but, with the way it is now, we go right into recruiting, then had the whole team here for 8 weeks during the summer. Preseason started right when we got back for school this fall.
How is the second week of practice going? What are some of those early things that you always like to work out in the beginning of the season?
Yeah, really trying to install our defense and really, the mindset of how we play here. During the summer, spend a lot of time on individual skill and guys getting better as individuals. And then when we get back here for the fall, we really start installing our defense, putting in our concepts, how we want to play and why we want to play this way.
The season ended and you got right back to recruitment. So how has that adjustment been the last 3 to 4 years with the transfer portal and NIL?
The way we've approached it is just each season we're going to try to do the best that we can in terms of putting together a roster, having the experience be as positive as it can be for each player that's here at Kent. And do the best for them in terms of their development and improvement throughout their time here. And, hopefully all of the freshmen that we bring in will stay here for 3, 4, 5 years and see that development through. It may not always be that way moving forward, but certainly when we recruit guys, that's the plan. And then obviously when we lose guys, the more support we have through NIL, the better our chance to retain people and the better our chance to replace those that do leave with quality players. So anyone who does want to help us in that area, we have a guy in town who runs a collective for the whole department. And again, the more help we have, the better off we are. It's called the Blue and Gold Collective. So anyone who is interested in helping us in that way or helping any sport here at Kent in that way can contact Mike Beater from the Blue and Gold Collective.
Von Cameron Davis, it seemed like he was playing his best basketball in the MAC tournament at the end of last year. How important is it having a guy like him back on your roster to help lead the team?
Yeah, really, really important. He's a guy as good of a player as he is, and he's an excellent player. The example of his development over time is as important for the program's sake as having an excellent, preseason all-conference player on the all-tournament team, one of the leading returning scorers in the league back. His freshman year, he didn't play a ton during that COVID year, but continued to grind and get better year after year. And now he's, one of the faces, if not the face of the program, so to speak, in that, he's going to be on all the preseason, all conference lists.
Is there anything this year that you're looking to get back to or anything you're looking to continue from that team last year, transitioning into 24-25?
We need to become a more physical team than we were last year. And that was part of the issues. Now, we had a lot of injuries last year. We had a lot of things like that didn't go great for us through the course of the year and impacted our ability to play as physically as we'd like to play. But that is going to be a key to us having more success throughout the season is being able to play with a physical mindset throughout throughout each game and each practice and each day. And we've done a really good job up to this point. This has been as fun a group for me to coach as I've had in my 14 years here so far now.
And right here, we have the season ticket gift. If you purchase season tickets for Kent State men's basketball, Coach Sendy, we always appreciate the time. Coming up next on Flash Talk, we'll hear from Kent State women's basketball head coach Todd Starkey, coming off their first MAC title in 22 years. Don't go anywhere. This is Flash Talk on Bally Sports Ohio. Welcome back to Flash Talk here with Kent State women's basketball head coach Todd Starkey. Coach, thanks so much for joining me. I know practice has started up the last couple of weeks. Tell me how that has been and what the offseason was like for you.
Summer is more about skill development, working on some things in their game, building team chemistry, and then you want to see a progression towards cohesiveness, execution, all that type of stuff as you're getting into the fall, which we've now started to do. So I like where our team is, battling a little bit of an injury bug at this point, but other than that, I like how we're progressing and where we are at this point. Have a lot of experience back and some nice newcomers, and excited about getting things underway.
You lose 3 seniors, and you said some nice newcomers, 4 to be exact. Tell us a little bit about those newcomers that Flashes fans might not know about.
Yeah, so we have 2 transfers: Joy Bergstrom, who transferred from University of South Dakota, and Riley Rissmiller, who's from University of Dayton. And both of them are unique players, bring us, I think what we can really talk about is what they'll bring to us over the course of the next few years, with Joy coming in with 4 years of eligibility and Riley still having 3 years. So they both give us depth in the wing and post position, and I really like how they've blended in with our team. They're great people and great teammates, so looking forward to watching their development. And then 2 freshmen. We've got Megan Murray, who's from Western Pennsylvania, as a point guard, and is been a quick learner and is a tough competitor, and is really going to provide us some depth in the point guard area. And then Journey Hildebrand, who's from Brunswick, local player, all-state Ohio player, and as a great shooter, has the ability to really defend multiple positions. We really like how she's progressing already, and their development, I think, is going to be really key for us.
Jenna Batts, Bridget Dunn, Deanna Gray, Janae Tyler, 4 key players that were all huge in your stretch run winning the MAC tournament last year. How good does it feel to have those players back?
All 4 of those players have got major game minutes, and not just regular games, but also tournament play. They got experience at Rocket Mortgage in 3 games in the tournament, obviously, and then to be able to play in the NCAA tournament, all that type of game experience under the bright lights, so to speak, and having success in those games, I think provides a level of confidence for them moving forward that I think can really be the cornerstone for our team. Really like where Jenna has obviously great progression last year, probably the most improved player in the league last year, and with the departure of Katie Shoemate now, it puts a little bit more emphasis on her. Bridget's progression's been phenomenal, and her play and tournament play was great. Deanna, obviously, her emergence late in the year with Corinne Hauser's injury was fantastic, and Deanna's playing with a lot of confidence right now. And then Janae Tyler, of course, as a low post player, as a freshman, her level of composure and competitiveness has been really good. Really excited for those 4 really carrying us forward with the addition of our new players.
You were one of 19 women's college basketball programs that did not have a single transfer. And in the world of the transfer portal and NIL now in college basketball, what does that say about your program that you were able to keep literally everyone that was on the roster last year that wasn't a senior?
Either we have everybody fooled, or we've developed a culture that's hard to want to leave, right? And hopefully we think it's the second. I think we've done a really good job with our staff, a great staff of kind of vetting players that we're recruiting and putting the right pieces in place. their relationships that they have with each other as teammates, I think really is what enhances our program and what has continued to have continuity. So when that's the case, you really build a family environment. Everybody says they want that, but with us, I think we've been able to achieve that type of family atmosphere and the culture that we want to create. And I think ultimately also leads to winning basketball games.
You're coming off a MAC title. It's your first as the head coach at Kent State. What is your mindset going into this year, knowing that when you get to MAC play, there's likely going to be a little bit more of a target on your back this year?
Coach speak, but it's true. We're not defending anything. We're pursuing a championship for this year's team. So last year's championship stands on its own as what it was with that team. Every team is a little bit different. So we're pursuing a championship with this team, not defending anything. And I think that mindset has really sunk into our players, and they're excited about where we're headed.
We'll talk a little bit about, we got the cereal box here with you with the MAC championship trophy. If you want to hold this, Coach, I mean, this is a pretty cool item for the season ticket holders, wouldn't you say? You know,
all the players on the side, and we have our the back has our road through the season, so it's kind of fun to watch that, and our staff, of course. So, yeah, it's a great promotional piece, and I hear the actual cereal's great and healthy for you too.
Well, November 4th, make sure you eat your championship Cheerios. Kent State women's basketball opens the season in the MAC Sun Belt Challenge at home against James Madison. Coach Starkey, thanks so much for the time. Coming up next on Flash Talk, Kent State soccer assistant coach Rockey Sasitharan discusses the soccer team's most recent 2 matchups and what to expect coming up against Western Michigan. We'll be right back with Flash Talk on Bally Sports Ohio. Welcome back to our Flash Talk studios. Dane Richardson here with Kent State soccer associate head coach Rockey Sasitharan. Rockey, thanks for joining me. Give me first off your takeaways from the last 2 games against Ohio and Miami, Ohio.
I think 2 very polar opposite types of games. I think against Miami, we didn't play the way we would want to, right? I don't think that we just found our groove in that game. I think in OU, we responded really well. It's obviously a finals rematch from last year. So I think, we've got a lot of returners that wanted to perform better. I think we did that. We followed our tactical plan a lot better in this game versus Miami. And I think we were a little unfortunate not to put some chances away, but those are things that we got to do better if we want to get back to the final.
Considering you guys faced them in the MAC title game last year, did you feel that from some of the returners?
Oh, I genuinely felt that. It's funny because I was just thinking about our lineup, and we're starting 5 freshmen.
Yeah.
We've got 3 sophomores in our starting lineup, right? Like that's 5 kids that didn't even play in that game. So I don't know that there was this like sense of revenge that we needed to have, but it genuinely felt that they wanted to respond from Miami rather than they wanted to make up from last year.
Tell me a little bit more about that freshman class. I know you were very high on this recruiting class coming in, and how is their development going on so far?
They've been outstanding. Fitness-wise, they came in, they all passed fitness. 3 of them tied for a new fitness record that was set this year. They've been just sponges in their learning and their growth. And genuinely, I think the other 2 would have had opportunities to play more if one wasn't a goalkeeper and behind Heidi, who's had a great season, and the other got hurt, in the first game, and she was doing really well.
Your team is still positioned well at 2-1-1 in the MAC so far. So where are some of those positives? Tell the fans at home, like, what are some of those big positive things that you guys have taken away?
2-1-1 and only have allowed 1 goal in MAC play so far. Right. So 3 shutouts in the 4 games. So for us, that's outstanding. Right. And it's not just Heidi. It's not just the back line. It's the whole team. Defending is a concerted effort from everybody. So very proud of that. Offensively, we're creating chances. We got to do a little bit more, dig a little bit deeper. I think it's not going to be some sensational shot all the time. It's going to be something gritty. We were playing OU, and it was a rainy day in Athens, Ohio, and it required something like a slide or just getting a last touch in front of a goalkeeper or sacrificing. And I think we're getting there. I think we have the young women to do it.
Well, what about your senior class? We talked to Elisa last week and what it meant to her. And that group has been to 2 MAC championship games so far. So how has that group been leaders for this year's team, and what would it mean to them and you guys as a coaching staff, seeing them develop and finally get that MAC championship?
It had dawned on me that was the first class when they were freshmen that I was here for. Wow. And I've been there for 4 years with them and just gotten to see them grow, not just as players, but as young women. And I think they've done a great job of leading this team. Started with the fitness test and just how hard they worked to make sure that the younger players knew what the standard was, and they were the standard. And they've done a great job on the field as well, right? Like, we're getting great contributions from Elisa, from Heidi, from Sienna, and the others when they get their calls. So the best teams are not coach led, they're player led, and I think we have a really good class to lead our team.
Saturday Night Lights at Dick Stadium against Western Michigan. We got the promo item here. Kent State will be rocking the black jerseys. How cool is it for you guys to play Saturday night? Likely a big turnout. How much are you guys looking forward to that?
Super excited. It's a great team in Western, and we hope that we have the crowd behind us. The energy's great. There's nothing like a night game at Dick's under the lights. The music's loud. The vibes are great. It's just something about the air at night. It just makes you play harder, makes you play tougher. I hope we get a great crowd. I think it's going to be a really, really hard game. We're going to need every bit of our fan base out there to support us. But yeah, super excited for another opportunity to play against a great MAC team.
Saturday night against Western Michigan at home at 6 p.m. Rockey, thanks so much for the time. Coming up next on Flash Talk, Head of Athletic Communications Dan Griffin joins us for one final time. Don't go anywhere. This is Flash Talk on Valley Sports Ohio. Coming up for Kent State Athletics this week. On Friday, Kent State field hockey will take their 2-0 MAC record to the test as they host App State at 2 p.m. on Mental Health Awareness Day. Plus, Kent State volleyball heads to Western New York to take on Buffalo at 6 p.m. Saturday, volleyball takes on Buffalo again in their second game of the doubleheader, this time at 4 p.m. Men's and women's cross country heads to Bethlehem, Pennsylvania for a meet at Lehigh, while Kent State soccer is under the lights against Western Michigan at Dick Stadium at 6 p.m. in their black jersey giveaway. Sunday, Kent State field hockey is at East Lansing to take on Michigan State at 1, while men's golf begins a 2-day invite at Notre Dame in South Bend. Monday, men's golf wraps up their tournament at Notre Dame, while women's golf starts the Maryland Smith Sunflower Invitational at Kansas University and finishes up on Tuesday. As always, you can buy your tickets at ksutix.com. If you want more information on your favorite Flashes teams, visit kentstatesports.com or visit the Go Flashes app. We'll be back with more Flash Talk right after this. Welcome back to our Flash Talk studios. We're here with Head of Athletic Communications and Director of Broadcasting, Dan Griffin. Dan, it's one last hurrah here on Flash Talk. You passed off the reins. And first, I have to comment on the pink cowboy hat. I believe that was on No Context College Basketball last season.
Normandy and I, without out context, wearing that, and I think it says all that needs to be said. I think there needs to almost be a ceremonial passing of the hat to let you know that this is your show now.
Well, I appreciate that. I think there's 2 hats, and a great fashion choice to finish it off. And I do have to ask, I don't want to get too sappy here in this interview, but your favorite memory or memories at Kent State in your 5 years here?
I mean, there were a number of phenomenal wins and moments. A bunch of the games against Zippy, especially on the hard court, whether it's the women winning by 1,000 or the guys winning on a couple of last second shots or that overtime game. The run in 2019 started with the comeback against Buffalo. People don't remember that it was a back and forth game the following week against Ball State with both teams fighting for bowl eligibility. Last second field goal by Trickett. A little pitchy woo-woo from Ball State goes nowhere. And then KJ Sherrill with the interception to seal the deal against Eastern. And off we were to the Frisco Bowl, where we handed Jordan Love his last collegiate loss in his last collegiate game.
You talked to me about the James Madison game last week. Is there a specific game that you broadcasted that sticks out in your mind that was pretty crazy, whether that be baseball, basketball, or anything else?
There was a game, I want to say it was 2021 against Central Michigan. Richie Dell threw a complete game shutout in a 1-0 victory. And within 10 minutes of that game going final, the rest of the series had been snowed out because by the time I was done wrapping up the broadcast, you couldn't see center field.
You never know what type of weather is going to happen.
That one stands out. There was a women's basketball game my first year against Robert Morris, where they were losing the entire game, and Megan Carter had a steal off the Reggie Miller-esque steal, and she lays it right back in to give Kent State its only lead of the game with about 4 seconds left. That was pretty memorable.
You had an interview with Rob Polinsky that aired on our radio halftime show, and you talked a little bit about the people.
Well, yeah, every time you leave a place, the job is relatively, when you're in this line of work, is relatively going to be the same. You're just announcing or working for a different school. It's the people that and the friends that are with you, quite honestly, way more often at times than you are with your own family. I mean, this room, I've spent countless hours with you people, and you've put up with me and my nonsense for 5+ years. The coaches have been phenomenal to work with across the board. And I mean, there's the office downstairs is a borderline rompus room or fun house of nonsense.
It is. A lot of fun times through your 5 years at Kent State.
For
Well,
sure.
You've hosted this show for quite a bit now. Tell our viewers at home where you are headed next.
Off to Dayton, Ohio. I'll be the external AD for Wright State University, which means I'll do a little bit of this, but I also kind of oversee communications, marketing, ticketing, try to put on the best fan experience and overall experience for the student athletes, the students, and the Wright State community. So it was almost too good of it's too good of an opportunity to pass up, and it would have taken a special job or opportunity like that to drag me out of here.
Is there anyone specifically that you would like to thank?
No, because I don't want to. There's not just one person, and there's been the leadership has been phenomenal throughout all of this, and we've reached the depths of Seattle and Fresno, and then know that we are an internationally known baseball broadcast. So that's always both humbling and frightening at the same time.
On behalf of everyone at Kent State Athletics, we'd like to thank you for all the amazing work you've done over the last 5 years. Your experience and knowledge has been invaluable, not only to me, but everyone else in the athletic department. And we're going to miss you at Wright State for sure.
Well, it means a lot. We need to do the ceremonial passing of the hat. This is literally your show now. Best of luck, man. It's been a pleasure working alongside you and seeing everything that you try to do, both professionally and personally, whether it's in broadcasting as a student or defending our national security. It is impressive to watch you balance everything out. So continue best of luck and keep putting up the good work.
I appreciate that, Dan. And for one final time, I'll let you close out the show.
For all of us here inside the GFTV studios, this has been Flash Talk. For Dan Richardson, this is Dan Griffin saying goodnight and go Flashes.